Liv Morgan fans are not talking about this, and I'm just begging you guys, look at the bigger picture in this video. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're missing, why you're not talking about it, and why you should be talking about it, because as of the recording of this video, we are just days away from Liv Morgan stepping into the Swerve Circle, taking on Io Sky with the Women's World Championship on the line at Saturday night's main event. I think it's pretty universal that we all expect Liv Morgan to beat Io Sky and retain her championship. Now, we also know that we're going to be getting a third and final match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley to finish off, to capitalize, to put an end to their epic feud that started earlier this year. There's no denying what Liv Morgan has been able to do as Women's World Champion. What can she do in the remaining months as Women's World Champion? Because I expect Rhea Ripley to go over. Now, when you book that match, that's the question. That's the million-dollar question. In my opinion, they do not have enough legs to get to main. This feud has gone on since last April. Okay, Liv Morgan, she was in a situation in which she was originally just supposed to put over Rhea Ripley. It was supposed to be a one-off thing. They had history, and it was someone for Rhea to beat as Women's World Champion coming off of her win over Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, right? But Rhea gets injured in a backstage segment. Becky goes home. They needed to create a new top star. Bada boom, bada bing. Liv Morgan is in as your Women's World Champion, and she has absolutely set the world on fire since then. But as we go into 2025, and as we know that it's just a matter of time, I believe January 6th, Monday Night Raw, Netflix debut, I think that's when this match happens. I think that's when they do the title change. I think that's when this feud absolutely ends. And Rhea Ripley goes over and wins the Women's World Championship. You're going to need Liv to do something notable, right? Because they're not going to go back, I don't think, and put Liv as just like this mid-card type talent. I think they're going to absolutely try to put her in top-tier positions because she does draw big ratings and she does draw social media engagement. She does sell merch. There's a lot of pros to that because of the hardcore fan base in which she's been able to build up over the last several years. And that got me thinking, what Liv Morgan fans aren't looking at is there's actually a championship in which she can hold. Now, hear me out on this. So WWE will determine the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion with the finals being held at a later date. So the first round started on December 2nd. Dakota Kai won a first-round match. Lyra Valkyria won a first-round match. You still have Alba Fire and Kairi Sane and Natalya working a triple threat. You got Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, and Kaden Carter working a triple threat. We don't know when the semifinals are. We don't know when the finals are. Now, obviously, Liv Morgan is not going to be the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion. But out of the names in which I listed, okay, it's not going to be Raquel. She's not going to win the championship. Maybe a Kairi Sane, maybe a Dakota Kai, maybe a Valkyria. There's not a lot of hard-hitting names here. There's no real top-tier names on this tournament. So what if, crazy thinking, what if you have Liv Morgan drop the Women's World Championship to Rhea Ripley, and then Liv starts to get a little bit momentum back up. She starts winning singles matches, and then she sets her sights on the Women's Intercontinental Championship, right? Just because she may not be the inaugural champion, they're going to crown an inaugural champion real soon, right? I could see the finals actually being held on January 6th on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I could see that. Because obviously there's no other shows in between them. They don't have enough time for Saturday night's main event. And there's no PLE for the rest of this month. There's no PLE in January either. It's a Royal Rumble in early February. I think February 1st. So, what if you have Liv Morgan win the women's IC title? Because it, A, gives Liv Morgan something to do, something notable. It gives her a championship, but more importantly, it puts prestige on the title. By putting a top-tier name, no different from the Women's U.S. Championship title tournament, when you put a top name on it as the inaugural champion, it makes the titles immediately mean something. When they created the women's tag team titles, who did they have as their inaugural champions? Bayley and Mercedes Moné. Now, granted, those two were advocating for the titles for so long, but they still put them as the champions. So what do you do with the U.S. Championship? I think you would put it on Bayley and or Tiffany Stratton. Well, with the IC title, out of this list, is Dakota Kai the right person? Is Lyra Valkyrie the right person? Is a Kairi Sane or an Alba Fire or an Natalya the right person? I don't know. I don't think so. Now, if you're just trying to build someone up, Valkyrie is a good choice. Dakota Kai is a good choice. Kairi Sane's a good choice. Alba Fire is a good choice. But do they feel like championship material? Valkyria does to a degree. Fire does to a degree, but they're not home hitters. They're not super charismatic, right? And I think in a time where you need all the checklist, right? You need to be able to work, you need to be able to cut a promo, and you need to be able to have charisma and character. And when you don't have all those things, I don't think you succeed as much as others in the current landscape of WWE. I think it's a situation in which you have to look at it and go, okay, we have to make this title right out of the gate. And by having it with Liv Morgan, I think they accomplished that. In fact, I know that they accomplished that. And so when I was thinking about this idea, I was thinking, oh, that actually is a great idea. It gives Liv Morgan something to do. It gives her something notable to do. She helps out the company. She helps out the women's division. She sets the scene. And she can do so and maybe elevate the winner, the inaugural champion, even more, right? Because just because you lose a match does not mean that you're not elevated by doing so. I think you can. I think you do. And so if you look at it like that, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I like that. Right now, whether or not WWE actually goes forward with this remains to be seen. Now, we also have the transfer portal thing going on right now. I think they call it the transfer window, so excuse me. We'll see if Liv Morgan stays on Monday Night Raw. Like, if she doesn't, if she's moved to SmackDown, then it's like, oh, well, then she can't be IC champion. But I don't think she's going anywhere because it's Raw to Netflix. They're going to want their biggest stars on at least the season premiere. Maybe, the first couple shows after it launches. I don't see why you would want to put a Liv Morgan on SmackDown at a time where you need her, right? So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they book her. But when it comes to the women's IC title, yeah, I love the idea. I think it's a brilliant idea. And I would be very curious to see what you guys have to say down in the comments area below, because I think it's an idea that can work. I think it's an idea that WWE should go with and that they should consider. And if they haven't considered it, somebody let them know that I came up with the idea. Just saying, give it a thought. Give it a thought, y'all.